What's good, Ravens fans? Ravens Rundown coming up in just a few moments from right now. But before we do, the month of June is all about the likes here at Chat Sports. We are in the midst of a like battle with the Browns Report, our AFC North rivals. And I got to tell you, things are so close. Got to catch those guys. Cannot get beat by Matthew Peterson and the Browns. No chance whatsoever. So, like today's video. Make sure your friends like today's video as well, and let's get started with today's show. Ravens Rundown is presented by Aura, the all-in-one digital safety company. We'll tell you more about what they do coming up later in the show. For more, you can get your 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. On today's show, we'll go over the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors, starting off with Deshaun Watson. The Cleveland Browns quarterback is in the midst of a hearing with an arbitrator, that is Sue Robinson, meeting with her on Tuesday, and that continues throughout the week. And the report is that the National Football League is seeking a one-year suspension for Deshaun Watson. Ultimately, Robinson will decide the punishment. Now, that is different than typically what we've seen in these circumstances in years past. In the past, we've seen these decisions have been left to Roger Goodell to decide. But the way that the CBA has changed, now he has given up those rights in these type of decisions where now it's up to an independent arbitrator like Sue Robinson to make this call. Here is what Tony Buzzbee had to say. This is a lawyer representing the defendants against Deshaun Watson. Today I announced that all cases against Deshaun Watson, with the exception of 4, have settled. We are working through the paperwork related to those settlements. Once we have done so, those particular cases will be dismissed. The terms and amounts of these settlements are confidential. We won't comment further on these settlements or those cases. Now, in years past, when we've seen some of these violation of personal conduct policy suspensions go down when there was not charges, they included probably the 2 most high-profile situations: Ben Roethlisberger, former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, and Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott. Roethlisberger was initially suspended 6 games, got reduced to 4. Elliott was suspended 6 games in that case. Now, what we've seen, the track record of the NFL, it's not consistent. You know, look at Tom Brady, for example. The whole deflating football situation, he got 4 games, the same amount as Ben Roethlisberger, right? And so now, with this new way of doing things, we don't really have a baseline to go off of what this all means for this Deshaun Watson suspension. I think we're expecting the year-long penalty with all these cases that have added up and the way that they're doing things, but we don't know for certain until something is actually done. So, let's let you be the judge now. How many games would you suspend Deshaun Watson for? This is our pinned comment today. You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it while the ad's playing. Let me know how long you would suspend Deshaun Watson. Now, of course, Watson in the AFC North now with the Cleveland Browns, and so that means that the Ravens would face Watson and the Browns twice this upcoming season, in the regular season, that is. And the dates of those games are Week 7 and Week 15. Initially, when all this came out that Watson was headed to Cleveland, I think we were all talking about 6 to 8 games. And so then when the schedule was released, you were thinking, okay, there's a chance that Deshaun misses the first game, but he'll be back for the second game. And now, with the way the NFL's pushing this, obviously it looks like that the Ravens could end up not having to face Deshaun Watson at all this upcoming season. Here is what Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk had to say. Whatever the commissioner does, he won't put himself in position to be criticized again for going too easily on a player accused of misconduct against a woman, or 26 women in counting. So I think, as we get a feel for this, everything points to that the NFL might come down hard on Deshaun Watson. And I think it's also worth noting, too, you're going to have some folks that say, well, look, Deshaun Watson sat out all last year. Isn't that time served? No, it's not time served. Deshaun Watson was paid for all of last year. So, for me, that doesn't mean a damn thing that he sat out last year because he was still getting paid. So, in this case, when I look at it with Deshaun Watson this year, you have to suspend him for at least the entire season, at the very least, and you can't pay him a penny either. So, let's ask you guys, will Deshaun Watson play a snap in 2022? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know what you think if Deshaun Watson will play a single snap this year. Y for yes, in for no. Today's show is presented by Aura, the all-in-one digital safety company. If you want to shop, bank, work online more safely and privately, Aura is just the product for you. You can keep your identity secure with extensive monitoring of your personal information. You know, if you're in a situation of you got a compromised credit card, you're in bad luck. But if you have Aura, they're going to make sure that you are taken care of with extensive monitoring 24/7. If something goes wrong, they're on top of it. They're keeping you covered. And just for my viewers of Ravens Rundown, we're going to offer you a great deal from Aura, a 14-day free trial if you go to aura.com/chatsports. That's aura.com/chatsports. Not only are you going to protect you and your bank account and your online activity, you're also going to protect your loved ones as well. Up to 5 people on an Aura account. Isn't that great? Aura.com/chatsports, 14-day free trial. That's aura.com/chatsports. Moving on, let's talk about Odell Beckham Jr. According to Bleacher Report, they have put out a suggestion that the Ravens should look into signing OBJ. Now, if you go back to the Super Bowl, remember OBJ got hurt, I believe it was in the second quarter of that game, and it's not expected that OBJ is going to be ready to go from the jump this season. But we did see a nice bounce back from OBJ when he went to the Rams after leaving the Cleveland Browns last year. The numbers, not bad at all. 593 yards, 7 touchdowns, including 48 receptions, and he was a huge part of that playoff run for the Rams to get to the Super Bowl. Ultimately, I don't think the Rams would have even gotten to the Super Bowl without Odell Beckham Jr. last year. That was the difference that he made for that offense. So something to keep in mind there. Although OBJ would not necessarily be ready to go at the beginning of this season, he could be a really good find for the Ravens as they try to make a playoff push here in 2022. What do you guys think? Should the Ravens sign OBJ? Here's what I need you to do. Tell me one way or the other. Type S for sign, type P for pass. If you think the Ravens should make a move for OBJ, let me know in the comment section below. That's S for sign, P for pass. The Ravens wide receiver depth chart has been much talked about, and the big changes that we're seeing here in 2022 as you move on from Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins. This is the hand the Ravens are dealt. Now, the Ravens feel pretty confident that Rashad Bateman and company are going to lead the way, that they're ready to start this next chapter with this receiving core, especially with having the best tight end room in football as well. But for me, I don't think it hurts you if you looked at adding OBJ or Julio Jones to that receiving core. We're not talking about either guy being a long-term solution at this point in their careers. I don't think it hurts you at all to look at one of those two guys as a number 3 receiver of some sorts. To me, that could be a nice impact. And at this point in the ball game, we're in the month of June now, almost July. We're about to celebrate the freedom of our great country here next week. Look, they're not going to cost a whole lot. You can get a pretty good bargain, I think, when it comes to OBJ and Julio Jones at this point in time. Those are the only guys I would consider. Now, we have talked on this channel a lot about Terry McLaurin, who's down the road in D.C., and with the new deal that he got, he's off the table. You're not going to get Terry now. He got paid a lot of money, $71 million to be exact, over a 3-year stretch. And well-deserved for Terry, happy for him, but that means that there's just no chance of him coming to Baltimore, at least this offseason anyway. Maybe down the road, but that's not happening right now nonetheless with that move of him staying in Washington. A good move by the Commanders to keep him there and give him that well-deserved deal. Still a couple other guys that potentially could be moved when it comes to wide receiver trade options like a Deebo Samuel or a DK Metcalf. But McLaurin, who seemed to be the most talked about when it came to Baltimore, is off the radar, it seems, for now anyway. Ravens Rundown is bringing you Ravens coverage each and every day here on the channel. We're talking free agency, trades, counting you down to training camp, anything and everything right here. Turn those notifications on so you never miss a moment of the Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now, youtube.com/RavensTV. That's youtube.com/RavensTV. Final note before we go today, let's talk about Jimmy Smith. He received some high praise from former Super Bowl MVP and New England Patriot Julian Edelman this week. And he said that Smith was the player that he hated going up against the most. Here is what Edelman said. Me and Jimmy, I remember him, like I trained over in L.A., and I remember him coming out, and he was really quick in and out of breaks, and I'm like, who's this dude? And then we started playing against each other, and that's when we were playing Baltimore like twice a year. He was a long guy. He was kind of quick. He was patient at the line of scrimmage. He kind of knew how to F with me. I won my battles, but he won his. And if you remember, Smith was a great Raven, former first-round pick back in 2011 by the Baltimore Ravens. And what a lot of fun that was. Some nice praise there from Julian Edelman about Jimmy Smith. Now, before we go, if you made it to the end of today's video, give yourself a pat on the back and also type flock. Okay? Do that right now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Ravens Rundown.